In this video, I'm going to show you how to do your own cut so that you can lose fat and get in the best shape of your life. This isn't going to be like those other influencer videos where they bore you for 45 minutes with complex calorie calculations and they throw a ton of bullshit scientific information at you. I'm just going to simply break it down in 5 steps so that by the end of this video, you can go away and do your own cut from start to finish. And you can have visible abs hopefully by the end, you can have veins in your arms, you can have that V-taper shape that we all want without complicating the whole process. At the end of the video, I'll give you some tips and tricks that I've learned myself from going through my cuts and helping my clients do the same. So stay around for the end of the video and I think those will really help you out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Ben, I'm a strength coach and powerlifter. I've helped hundreds of clients to lose fat, gain muscle mass, and just simply get in better shape. I have a master's degree in exercise science and I've been training myself for around 10 years now. So hopefully I can help you out in this video. So around 2 years ago, I did my first ever proper cut. It was a 20-week cut. And you can see on screen, I started around 96 kilos or 211 pounds. And to put it bluntly, I was pretty fat. So yeah, around 20% body fat. My waist was almost 36 inches and I just hated the way I looked. I was soft, fluffy, I was getting out of breath walking around and I felt like I didn't even look like I went to the gym. By the end of the cut, I got down to 85 kilos or about 187 pounds. Here, I was about 10 to 11% body fat. My waist was about 31 inches, so I was down almost 5 inches on my waist, almost 10% body fat. And yeah, I feel like by the end of the cut, I looked far better. I wasn't huge by any means. I definitely wasn't big, but I had visible abs, I had veins, I was just generally in better shape. I was fitter, I was not getting out of breath, doing basic things. I've done a few cuts now and I've helped loads of clients do the same as well. And the process doesn't need to be complicated and super hard, and you don't need to be torturing yourself doing hours of cardio. It can be simple and quite easy to do. So let me give you a 30-second quick summary of how the process of cutting actually works. You don't need to know all the science and you don't need to know all the technical stuff. All you need to know is that in order to lose body fat, you simply need to eat fewer calories than you need to maintain your current weight. So let's say you're 100 kilos at the minute and your maintenance calories is 2,500. So if you eat 2,500 calories a day, you'll stay exactly at 100 kilos in theory. You won't gain weight, you won't lose weight. It's that simple, that's all you need to know. Obviously there are details like your macronutrient intake, like protein, fat, carbs, your training, cardio, stuff like that. But very basic terms, it comes down to energy balance and calories. Now, bear in mind, I'm trying to keep this process as simple as possible for you so that you can actually go and start a cut and not need to spend loads of time thinking about it. You can just go ahead and execute it and get lean. So let me give you a really simple 5-step process for how you can do your own cut. So step number 1 is going to be set a clear end point for the cut. Step 2 is going to be to calculate your calorie and macro targets. Step 3 is going to be to hit those targets daily. Step 4 is going to be your training. And step 5 is going to be your cardio. So let's go into each one in a little bit of depth so that you can understand the process. So step number 1 is setting a clear endpoint for the cut. Too many people make the mistake of wanting to diet for months and years and never really having a fixed endpoint or a target to get to. You need to set a deadline and you need to set a target so that you know where you're actually going. You're not just going through the motions and never actually reaching a goal. So I would recommend that you cut until you are as lean as possible without sacrificing muscle and strength gains. So for most of you watching, that's going to be about 10 to 15% body fat. So with my clients, I use a few different criteria so that we can determine when the cut is going to end. So besides that 10 to 15% body fat cut off, we can end the cut when we're satisfied visually. So you look in the mirror and you feel like you're lean enough. Your performance in the gym is suffering, so you're starting to lose strength quite quickly. Your metabolism has slowed down a lot, so it's really, really hard to lose more weight. And your hunger is getting out of control, so you feel like you need to binge. I had days when I'd wake up at like 2 in the morning and I had to come to the kitchen, to the cupboard and just binge a shit ton of food, like I'd eat like 5 packs of crisps, a chocolate bar. So you don't want to get to that point. You want the cut to end before you get there. So write down a clear endpoint, write down some criteria that you're going to be happy with, and set that as a clear target. Next, we need to calculate your calorie and macronutrient targets. So really simple way to do this, go onto Google, type in TDEE calculator. This calculator is going to give you a rough estimate of your maintenance calories, or the number of calories you need to eat to maintain your current body weight, okay? So fill in the information on the website, get a calculation, use that as a starting point. If you've been tracking your food for a while, then you can straight away knock 500 calories off the number it gives you. If not, just start with the number that it spits out and just start from there. That'll give us a bit of consistency, and then we can start reducing food in the next few weeks. Once you have a calorie number, then we can set your protein, fat, and carbs. Really easy way to do it. For protein, I like to set that around 1 gram per pound of body weight, which comes out to about 2.2 grams per kilo body weight. Then we can set your fat at 1 gram per kilo body weight, and then we can allocate the rest of that to carbohydrates. So set your protein, set your fat, and then put the rest of your calories to carbohydrates. Sorted. You don't need to know all the science behind that. Those are nice guidelines based on scientific research. So use those as a starting point, don't overthink it, and then we can adjust as needed down the line. I would recommend that you aim to lose about 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. So for example, if you're 95 kilos, that will come out to about 0.5 to 1 kilo per week. You can lose body fat quite quickly, and if you feel like you're losing too quickly, too slowly, we can adjust calories, so don't worry. Step number 3, we need to hit those calorie and macro targets each and every day as close as we can. So I would recommend that you download a food tracking app. MyFitnessPal is a great one to start with, Macro Factor, Chronometer. Have a look at them, see which one you like best. But the most important thing is consistency. So track all of your meals. This might require you to buy a food scale so that you can weigh your foods and you can see how much you're actually taking in. Obviously, the more accuracy you track with, the better, and it will help you lose weight more efficiently. But you don't need to be obsessive and tracking things to the gram if you don't want to, especially if you're not competing. But you do need some kind of idea of what you're taking in. I would also recommend that you weigh yourself multiple times a week. Ideally, you weigh yourself every day, first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, step on the scale, record it, and then at the end of the week, take an average of that week, of the 7 days, and then you can take that average, so you've got week 1, week 2, week 3, and you can see if you're actually losing weight at the rate that we would like to. One way you can kind of simplify this process is to write yourself a bit of a meal plan or a meal schedule and just end up eating the same meals, the same foods every single day. That makes it way easier, removes a lot of the choice and the overthinking. And then when your weight loss stalls, you can just simply take away a little bit of food. When you're tracking your weight, if your weight loss stalls for 1 to 2 weeks, that's when I would recommend that you decrease your food intake a little bit. So let's say your weight doesn't go down for 2 weeks. I would recommend that you subtract 15 to 25 grams of carbs and or 5 to 10 grams of fat. So 2 weeks gone by, you haven't lost any weight. I would just knock off a few carbs, a few fat, and go again. It's that simple. And then just repeat the process every time that you stop losing weight. Step number 4 is your training. And I think a lot of people mess this up and they try to change their training massively once they go into a cut. And honestly, if your program is good and you're training hard in the gym, you don't need to change your training at all really when you go into a cut. The only thing I would say is that potentially when you get deep into the cut, you might need to dial the training volume back just a little bit, just because you don't have as much recovery resources as you did when you were bulking. But you don't need to make massive changes. You don't need to go with that bullshit myth that higher reps and lower weight are for toning and losing body fat and stuff like that. Just train exactly the same as you were. Train hard, focus on performance, focus on adding weight to the bar, take your accessory work and your bodybuilding close to failure, and you'll be just fine. When you get deep into the cut and you're starting to feel tired and you're hungry, then you can start cutting off a set or two here and there just so that you can recover. But don't overthink and change up your whole training program just because you're in a diet. I will say though that your body does not want to hold on to all this muscle mass. It costs a lot of energy for you to hold on to muscle. So you are going to really have to try and push hard in the gym to maintain that muscle mass. You need to give your body a reason to hold on to it and keep it around. So If you're losing a lot of strength in the gym, you're probably losing muscle as well. So take that into consideration when you're training. Finally is your cardio. I would not recommend that you jump into doing cardio every day and torture yourself with 7 days a week on the stepper or whatever else you're doing. Start simple. I started out with 1 time a week, 30 minutes on an incline treadmill walk. When my weight loss stopped, instead of decreasing food, I just simply added in a second cardio session and a third. And I think by the end of the cut, I got up to 4 30-minute sessions per week. So that can be an easy way to keep your food intake up and keep you losing body fat without having to drop your calories. So quick summary then. Number 1, set yourself a clear endpoint for the cut. Know exactly what you're aiming for and when the cut is going to end. Number 2, use that simple calculation to come up with your calorie and macro targets. If you need help with that, post a comment down below. Number 3, track your food intake and weigh yourself every morning so that you know if you're actually losing weight. Make adjustments when you need to, when your weight loss stalls. Number 4, don't drastically change up your training. Train exactly the same as you did, but train hard so that your body has a reason to hold on to that muscle mass. And number 5, use cardio to help with your deficit. Don't jump into 7 times a week cardio. Start at 1 time a week, 30 minutes of a low intensity cardio, and slowly bump it up as you need to. None of us want to be doing more cardio than we need to, so just use it as a tool. Before we end the video then, I've got a couple of extra tips that I've kind of picked up along the way from coaching and training myself over the years. Even though you can't tell, I've been training for 10 years, but hopefully a few of these tips help you out. So eat the same things every day. So I think through my cut, I literally just ate the same thing every single day. I might be a bit weird, but it helped me out a lot. I literally just had 3 meals a day. I'd wake up, have a protein shake and a coffee. Then I would have some kind of lean meat with a starchy carb like rice, potatoes, pasta, and some veg, and then do the same for dinner, and that was literally it. Another one is to take progress pictures and videos often, because there's going to be a lot of times during the cut you're not going to feel lean. You're not going to feel like you're making any kind of progress at all. And it's really important that you have those. You can look back and you can see like, oh, I was quite lean, like I actually was making progress. Also, I would make sure that you assess each weekend. So on a Saturday or Sunday, have a look, like have a little review. Did I lose weight this week? Like, have I actually lost any body fat? Have my body measurements changed? The more that you kind of track things, the more that you can see if things are actually working and if you need to make adjustments. Make sure you're training hard, prioritize performance in the gym. Don't prioritize getting a pump and a burn, prioritize actually performing and adding weight to the bar. Like I said, you need to give that muscle a reason to hang around. Or just be like me and don't have any muscle to begin with. So, another one, carb cycling can be useful for some people. It helped me out quite a lot. Once you've been cutting for a while and hunger starts to get quite high, it might benefit you to have low calorie and higher calorie days. So for example, when I was cutting, I would have Saturdays and Sundays would be my high calorie days. So Monday to Friday would be quite low calorie. Saturday, Sunday would be a little bit higher. And it just made it way easier to stick to the diet. I knew that I was pushing like Monday to Friday to have that reward on a Saturday or Sunday. And it also helped me perform a bit better in the gym because I was a bit more full, like I had a bit more veins. I just felt a bit better. So consider carb cycling, like when you're a bit deeper into the cut if you need to. Don't start with it straight off the bat, and it might not work for all of you, but for some of you, it might make the process a little bit easier psychologically. Another little kind of trick that you can do to help with that is, you can call it intermittent fasting if you want, but I just used to skip breakfast. I'd have a protein shake instead of a meal, and that meant that I could have a bigger lunch and dinner. So that might help you out as well, so that you can just eat a little bit more in the evening meals. And I would also recommend that you bulk your meals out with fruits and vegetables. As boring as they are, it will help you to fill up and actually feel satiated as well. So those are my tips for cutting. Hopefully it wasn't too boring and didn't include too much science and too much boring stuff. Hopefully you found it useful, and now you can go away and you can actually do your own cut and get in better shape. If you have any questions on cutting and losing body fat, post them down below and I'll get back to you. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be uploading a new video every single Sunday, so if you have any recommendations or any topics you'd like to see covered, post them down below. I don't want to limit things just to fitness. But yeah, thanks for watching. good luck with your cut. Hopefully you get in much better shape than I did, and have a great day. I'll catch you all next week. I thought I clicked stop recording, but apparently not. And you all just saw my gut. So clearly none of you should be taking recommendations from me on cutting.